Okay, so it's about that time, vlogging again. I actually have a topic that I wanted to talk to you guys because it's been on my mind a lot and I've been thinking about it and I wanted to share it with you guys. And it's boys. Who doesn't love to talk about boys? Well, boys don't. But so I'm just gonna warn you guys right now that some guys might find this offensive, and so if you don't want to watch, you might want to take this time before I get started, turn off the video, go do something else. Just think about it. Okay, we good? Now I'm gonna continue. So basically, I thought of this really great analogy to describe guys, how they walk in and out of our lives, the things they do, the different types of guys that we encounter. And I think it's very relatable, and I'm really proud of this, so I'm going to share it with you guys. So I'd like you to just join me. Think of yourself and your heart as a puzzle. Your heart is a puzzle. It's a beautiful puzzle. And when things are good, it's in one piece, right? And you put it all together and it makes a beautiful picture. This is your heart. You know it, okay? You're aware of it. It's yours. You own it. You put it together. You spent your whole life putting this thing together. Pretty darn proud. Okay? And then basically it's like it's in a museum. And you're the only one that has access to it. But you want to share it with someone. But all the people who want to come see it, sometimes they don't actually want to see it. They just want to pretend they want to see it. And sometimes they just want to come in and enjoy smashing it into pieces. Sometimes they just want to make fun of it. These are what we call douchers. Okay, I mean you know what douchers are. So after we weed all of these people out of the application process and decide, no, you're not allowed into my museum, you can't see my heart. Back up, you're not allowed. Then eventually, we get this one person who applies for the position of viewing this puzzle, who actually passes the test, and so we let him in. And we're like, yeah, come here, look at this puzzle, isn't it beautiful? Isn't this a beautiful puzzle? This is beautiful, right? And then we admire it, and eventually it gets to the point where he's been looking at this so long, and he's expressed so much love for this puzzle, and so much interest in this puzzle, that he starts, claiming dual ownership over this thing. You decide to share it with him. This is as much yours now as it is mine. You know this almost as well as I do. So yeah, you can claim this is yours and mine. And, maybe we'll put your puzzle up there too. And now we both get to enjoy this puzzle. And it's our puzzle. It's not just my puzzle. It's our puzzle. But let me tell you something about this puzzle. I mean, you guys have put puzzles together, right? And what happens whenever you put a puzzle together, on a table, and you just leave it there, and you come back a week later, and there's pieces missing? I don't know how this happens, but puzzles just fall apart. That's just how they do, because they're not glued together or anything. They just kind of fall apart. So if you leave your puzzle up in the museum, pieces are going to fall off. Okay, nobody has to do anything to it. It can just sit there. Maybe you do it to yourself. Maybe it's the wind or some outside thing comes in and it just kind of breaks the puzzle up. But then if your guy comes in and he sees the puzzles falling apart, he's like, this is so not the puzzle that I like. What's wrong with this? I'm just gonna, I might as well just put it out as misery. And he just stomps on it and he just smashes it into pieces and leaves the museum and never comes back. And so then you're like, oh, my puzzle, it's broken. And so then you decide, well, you cry a little bit over how upset you are because your puzzle's broken and you loved that puzzle and it was so beautiful. But then you decide, it's best to put the puzzle back together because I really want to enjoy its beauty again. And since you're the only one that knows what the puzzle looked like in the first place, you have to do it by yourself. And so you get to work. You start putting this puzzle back together. But then while you're putting it, someone comes knocking on your museum and they're like, hey, can I see your puzzle? And you're like, well, see, it's kind of broken. It's kind of broken right now, so maybe later. Maybe you can see it once back together. And they're like, oh, it's broken. Let me help you put it back together. Let me help you. And so you're like, oh, well, you know what? That's really nice of you. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can come help me. That's fine. So they come in and they're helping you. But they're sneaky, see? You know what this jerk is doing? He's being sneaky because you think he's there to help. That's what you think. You think he's going to help you put this puzzle back together and it's going to be beautiful and at the end you'll be merry and happy and it'll just all be good. But no. No, that's not what happens. Because you know what he does? He steals some of the pieces. How are you going to put it back together if you're missing pieces? You can't. You can't do it. But you don't even know he's stealing them. But then when you find out, you're like, excuse me? My pieces? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I really wanted your puzzle. And I'm like, you know what? Well, I'll share it with you when it's back together, but you can't have the pieces. You might be able to share the whole thing with me, but you can't take it while it's in pieces, because I need to put it together first. And so then you're stealing them back because you won't just give them back, and so you're fighting back and forth, trying to get your puzzle pieces, and it's not pretty. It's just really not pretty. It's a huge mess, and then this guy and you will never be happy because he's stealing from you, and that's illegal. That's illegal. So then there's this other person who, while you're fighting, comes knocking on your door, and he's like, hey, you. Have you ever left this museum? Like, let's step outside for a second. You're like, oh, okay, so you're, like, come on. And so he pulls you out. And you're out of your museum. And you're out there, and you're like, the sun is shining out here. This is beautiful. For a minute, you forget about your puzzle. Everything's fantastic. And you're like, oh, yay, I'm happy. And then at the end of the day, you run back into the museum, you're all excited, and you just get to work on your puzzle on your own. And it's so much easier. It's so much easier to put puzzles back together when your mind is clear. And before you know it, your puzzle is fixed. And it's beautiful, and it's just like new. But then this person who kept bringing you out into the sunlight stops knocking. He stops knocking at your door, and you stop going into the sunlight with him, and it's just you and your museum. Once again, staring at this beautiful, beautiful puzzle. Yeah, that's my analogy. And I basically dreamt about it last night. I don't know, it just appeared to me this morning. Like a vision. A vision of puzzles and boys. I don't know. And I think that it's a very accurate analogy. I don't know if hopefully it made sense. I thought it made sense. I thought it made perfect sense. I thought it was very accurate. I've experienced every single one of those in like about 6 months. So I hope you guys could relate to that, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I didn't mean to. I think it's very accurate. And I'd really love to hear your comments on this, actually. So if you want to post a comment, right down there. Right down there. I would really appreciate it about this video, about future videos, about your puzzle destroyers, puzzle fixers, your puzzle, anything. Thank you for following my blog, watching my videos, following me on Tumblr, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much, and happy Friday. Ciao.